Hey, welcome back to Jason's Insightful World. I'm Jason Briggs with Cornerstone Commercial. And today I have an interesting video for folks that are in the mechanical business. We're going to be doing a heat plate exchanger cleaning. So this cool looking device next to me, to my left, your right, is a heat plate exchanger. So specifically, if you come on over here with me, and you see this honeycomb looking material, each one of these honeycomb plates is like a sandwich and it goes together. There's approximately 180 of these plates that comprise this heat plate exchanger. So if we back up just a little bit, I'll explain a little bit more about what it does. So in our building we have what's called a condensing loop air conditioning circuit. So we're in a 7-story building right now. And on each story of the building, there's 2 air handlers. Those air handlers work just like a regular home air conditioner. They have what's called direct expansion heat. It's basically R22 gas that works very similar to a car or a refrigerator or any of that. It comes and it has to get rid of the heat that once it goes through the first pass of the evaporation cycle, that heat, that superheat that's built up into that gas has to go somewhere. What it does is it cools itself down by a heat plate exchanger. In this case, you can use air, outside air with a condenser fan to do that, but in this particular case, we're going to use a heat exchanger because that's how they engineered the building. So if you look right here, it says condenser water. This condenser water goes all the way up through the building and it literally touches in the condensing tubes of the air conditioner system that heat that's built up, and it takes it all the way back down and goes into this heat exchanger. Then we look at the tower loop, which is a totally separate loop, and that tower loop and the condensing loop touch each other indirectly through the metal media in this heat plate exchanger. And the heat from the condensing water side touches and releases through the tower side by virtue of conduction. Okay? That conducted heat goes outside the building into what we call an evaporative water tower, which we'll show you on another video. We have to service and clean one of those. So what our goal here today is I've already cleaned this unit last week. We're going to start cleaning the unit that's its sister unit behind us. That's our job today. So what we're going to do right now, and we'll come back to you in a second, is my cameraman associate Gavin and I are going to take apart the stay bolts, all those bolts that are on both sides of this, and we're going to open them up and we're going to put them on floor so we're not tripping on them, and we're going to separate this. So once we have this separated, we'll be back to you. Catch you soon. Okay, we're back. So I just got my workout for the entire year, taking these 8 or so stay bolt rods out. The heat plate exchanger is under pressure. I can hear it cracking right now. It's starting to separate just from being compressed. So let's go take a look and see what we got going on. So right now you notice all we have here is just the plates and all that. You get to see Al Capone's treasure, and we're going to separate these for you for the first time. And this is what the inside of a heat plate exchanger looks like. Drum roll. So this is the end cap. There's the other end cap. And what this does is it alternates inside loop, outside loop. And it goes every other. So minus the end plate right here, because there's no water flow on the outside. This would be the condensing loop, both sides, and the water flows. It makes turbulence that goes through here, and that's how the heat exchange occurs. What our symptoms were for doing this whole procedure is we were not getting enough heat exchange across the media, which the media is the heat plate exchanger. So what we are doing is cleaning it. So now if you come over here, look at how tasty and delicious this is. All this is organic matter from outside the building that got into the system through the strainers and through the water tower. And you can see how disgusting it is. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take a pressure washer and we're going to pressure wash every single plate, both sides. I'm going to put a chemical in the pressure washer and I'll show you what we're going to try. I've never tried it before, but it comes highly recommended from my favorite friends at the Cleveland, Ohio Refrigeration Sales Agency. And we're going to do Ridlime. And the manufacturer is Apex Engineering Products. Ridlime, I'm told, does an amazing job of descaling. So we're going to give that a shot, see how it does on both the condensing and the water tower loop side of things, and we'll circle back. I'm going to start pressure washing, and then Gavin is going to take the wheel, start pressure washing, and then I'm going to jump back and we'll do some more recording. Okay, see you in 5. Okay guys, we're back in the pressure washing phase. This is my associate, Joe the plumber. Hello, Joe, our special guest star. So, Sir Gavin is back here blasting these plates away. So what's really important is, we were talking earlier about not interrupting the gaskets, because the gasket set, we just got a price for this. It's $14,000 for one set of gaskets. Just to clean it was almost the same. Go ahead. So on this unit, there's an every other side. So right now, the cleaner of the two sides, that's the condensing side. And all you're going to see on that is just like a black residue or a chemical. But when he separates and he starts going to the other side, I'll change the angle here just a minute. That will, as soon as he separates this plate, you're going to see how dirty it is. So that's what we're after, because the dirt stops heat exchange. Yep, it is gross. So right now the tower water goes through this system, and it can't go through when it's all plugged up like congestive heart failure, you know, or an embolism or something, because all this water has to go through these little plates. So as you see, he's going to separate that. Is that the dirty side, G? All right, so let me get you a close-up of the dirty side there. That's just nasty. Look at all that organic matter that's caked onto these plates. So he's going to go ahead and pressure wash that so you can see how easy this stuff comes off. I do have that Limex in there, so that's helping get some of the scale out. And we'll be back to you soon. Alright gang, welcome back. We're putting this new descaler in here. Just realized that none of it's going through the washing pressure washer, because I kept asking my associate Gavin here, I said, how much chemical we got? He's like, yeah, we still got a lot. So I took a break and realized it is not going in. So this is a concentrate. It says an ounce for every 2 gallons, if I remember correctly. So we're going to put this in here, which is left the remainder of this container here, and we will show you something here that I think is important. So I'm going to wash my hands off because this stuff is very acidic. And our fancy hand washing station that is needs to be plumbed properly. So as you come over here, I thought it was important to show you guys this stuff here. So in every circuit there's a strainer, and the strainer is a stainless steel mesh basket that kind of looks like a little Noah's Ark, and it's right here. This strainer, when we took it out, was 100% plugged with, again, organic matter from what was outside. So it gets in by virtue of the water tower. And now we are going to put this back in again. But I wanted to show you what this looked like, and you should also expect to clean this when you're doing a heat plate job. So this strainer basically just goes right back, and it seats up against the back, so it's not quite there. All right. And then we put it back together with what's called a Victaulic fitting. So this particular fitting, you just want to make sure it'll seal back up. There's a lot of pressure that's on this fitting from the rubber gasket and these two saddle clamps. But bottom line is, you're going to put it back in, put this around it. There's a rubber seal that goes around this. Make sure it's straight like that. Gavin already washed this down with some water so you don't have any crud. They do make a lubricant for this. If you have it, I don't happen to have any, but if you do happen to have some, feel free to use it. It's a good thing to have. And basically it just goes back together like this. Not a big deal. And make sure, as Gavin learned, it doesn't fall on your foot. These bolts have a carriage bolt feature, so there's a rim under here, so once you put the bolt in there and you start threading the nut, it's not going to spin on you. So at least you have that. Do you know where you put the nuts, sir?
Right here in my hand.
Oh, in your hand, she says. Okay. So again, just make sure everything is clean. Makes the job so much easier. Oops. And that's that. So we'll tighten it down. You'll tighten it basically evenly, a couple turns on one side, a couple turns on the other, so it seats properly, and you turn it until you can't turn it anymore. So give it some time. Here's where we're at if we want to take a peek. We're making an absolute muddy mess on the floor that Sir Gavin's going to work on later and get that cleaned up. But again, this is the clean side of the plates. And this is the outside side of the plates. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We've got about almost half done. The more we get towards where the pipes connect, the cleaner this should get, because all the sediment's going to go to the distal side where there's the least amount of water flow and pressure. So it kind of deposits like sediment in your drain. It just builds up and builds up. But we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're on our final fill right now. We started filling the system. My internal condensate loop's up to just about 20 pounds. I left you with not showing you how to tighten bolts because it's really boring, and I take it that everybody that watches this channel is pretty smart. So we have all these bolts that we took off, all 8 of them, okay? This was our original mark between, when we took this off for the very first time, this plate was in between those 2 lines, so that's our starting index. So right now this system is charged with water. I don't have the pumps on, but I do have the static water on, so the valves are open. Right now everything seems pretty tight. The most important thing to have is a level or a square. So one of the things that I do is I level and square off of this. If I see this, then the top plate has to go in. And if I see the reciprocal of that, then the bottom has to go in. But I do it that way, and then I come and do the horizontal access. So right now I can feel it. It's not quite even, left to right. But right now, it's not leaking. So I'm going to let the pressure of the system start filling these wafers in, because it's pushing on every plate as the water pressure builds up and expands. So that means it's going to put more back pressure on these bolts and nuts. Okay? I got my chemical feeds back on right now. I have my automatic valves are back on, so I'm seeing open and open. I see one closed that wants to be closed, and this other one's open. And again, I got about 20 psi. Once the main reservoir tank fills up, then it'll start purging the air out. I have my butterfly valves open for the water tower side. So nothing really big deal there. But what's really important is plan to get wet if you do this. I can tell you that for fact. My feet are just soaking wet right now and I hate that feeling. My hair's a mess. My whole outfit's just crazy. So if you have a rain slicker, that's the way to play it. I'm gonna put some chemicals that'll keep the system descaled in my chemical pot. So what you wanna do is isolate these two valves, drain it. I'll do that real quick. So now this pot's isolated. I'll come down here and I'll drain it out. And now I can come up here. But I'm gonna basically put some of the descaler that I talked about earlier, this Ridline from Apex. I'm gonna put some of that in there, and what that is gonna do is it's going to descale some of the hardness that's up in the condensing units of the condensing barrels of all my air conditioners. So this 7-story building, I basically have 25 direct expansion or DX air conditioners. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So I'm getting excited. This is the last time I have to do this. I did this one not too long ago, like a week ago. And if you look at this, I wrote this. The last time this was done was in April of 2015. So that's not cool. You gotta do this a little bit more than that, especially when you have heating and air conditioning issues. So on that note, appreciate you guys being with me today. Look for more content. Hit the like and subscribe button, as I always appreciate that. And we'll talk to you soon on Jason's World of Insightful Things. Bye-bye.